Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings, 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria, or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Good morning to our supporters, our sympathizers. A very warm good morning to Gambia and Gambians. Welcome to the 4th press conference of the Citizens Alliance. We've already had 3 engagements, and we believe they were very, very interactive engagements and successful press conference. We're here again to dialogue with the nation, our people, Gambia and Gambians. And our Citizens Alliance, we're very, very aware of the undesirable current state of our country. We believe the country needs direction. We believe the country needs leadership. We believe the country is yearning for solutions to our many problems. And to fix these problems, Citizens Alliance believes it will take collective responsibility. It will take collective effort. So as a stakeholder in this crusade, we take it upon ourselves to dialogue with the people, highlight the issues, and also provide solutions for a way forward. In today's engagement, we have 3 agenda items. The first, if you recall, or if you've been following us, you will notice that we've been going on voter registration sensitization tour nationwide. And we started with North Bank sometime in February the 7th, a couple of months ago. And the tour is still ongoing. We're yet to cover 3 regions. So my party leader, or the Citizens Alliance party leader and flag bearer, will talk to you guys about the challenges, the successes, and what is our take on that voter registration sensitization tour that we embark on, or we are still doing. Second on the list, we'll be talking about the recently published IEC notice in terms of voter registration. It is timely. Everybody is looking forward to it. We will also discuss that with you. And third, we will talk about the recent Sanyang incident. It is rather unfortunate that that happened. And of course, Citizen Alliance has a take, and we will discuss with you about that. So without much ado, I will invite my party leader and presidential candidate, Dr. Ismaila Cisse, to talk to you about these items I've just listed. Then after Doctor has already finished talking, then we will engage the media on a question and answer basis. And I look forward to a very, very engaging and successful press conference as we used to do always. So thank you very much. Once again, welcome. And I invite Dr. Ismaila Cisse.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, the media fraternity from the different media houses. We welcome you to the party secretariat once again to this very important press conference. It has been a norm for the Citizens Alliance to organize periodic press conferences, the purpose of which is to dialogue with the Gambian people, not only with CA members and sympathizers, but with every Gambian who is interested with the state of our nation. And we can only do that through you. So therefore, those who coined the term the fourth estate, emphasizing your importance and the critical role the media plays in any democratic dispensation, they never made any mistake. So we are playing that crucial role because it is only through you that we can talk to the Gambian people. So we thank you for once again gracing this or attending this press conference. Like Nene had said, we have 3 items on our agenda today. The first has to do with the CA or the ongoing CA voter registration sensitization tour. As you would all know, obviously, the IEC has just announced a date for registration. Therefore, the Citizens Alliance thought it prudent to go around the country and talk to Gambians about the importance of voter registration, why they should register to vote, and what they need to do to register to vote, because we cannot afford to disenfranchise anybody in this very important national electoral process which will take place in 2021. We believe at the CA that the vote, every vote is so powerful that every citizen who is eligible to vote must try to get a voter's card to vote. So we embarked on a voter registration sensitization tour. We started at the North Bank region. Precisely, we left on the 7th. We had our first day on the 7th. And then we did a week in the North Bank, starting from Lower Nyomi. We spent a day in Lower Nyomi and visited a couple of villages. We normally do village by village. We just take villages at random. We don't look at size. In fact, we try to cover as many villages as possible. We did Lower Nyomi. It was very successful. We had meetings in Eseu, Bara, Ndugu Kebe, Mayamba, Lowen, Fas, Njagachoy. We had meetings in Boletba. We had meetings in different villages. Then the following day, we proceeded to Upper Nyomi, where also we had meetings in Chila, Prince, meetings in Medina, Baimas. We had meetings in Fas Chaho, and some other villages around that area in Upper Nyomi. We proceeded the 3rd day to Jokado. We had meetings in villages there, Munyagen, Jamagen, and some very important villages there, Shise Majau, and some other villages in Jokado. Then after that, we finished the Nyomi and Jokado. We proceeded to Badibu. We did Lower Badibu, had meetings in many villages in Lower Badibu. The final meeting was done at Jawara, obviously. Then we proceeded to Central Badibu. We did Salikenye and most of the villages, Daru Yulwan, and all these villages around that area. Then we did Upper Nyomi as well. Then we did Farafenye, and then we finished off with Sabah Sanjal, where we had also a lot of meetings. I think Sabah Sanjal, we were able to cover 16 to 17 villages a day. So it was more organized and more successful. Now the theme, obviously, the discussions at these meetings, obviously, the purpose of the meeting was to sensitize voters, Gambian voters, or Gambians about the upcoming voter registration drive by the IEC, to inform them of the importance of, or the need for them to register and vote and get their voter's card and what they need to do. to get it, because there's a lot of misconception that you need only an ID card to vote. So when people talk to you, they'll say, well, I don't have an ID card to vote. That's a misconception. So we try to educate, to tell them that you don't only need an ID card. You need an ID card, yes, but if you also have a birth certificate, you are eligible to get, you are able to register to vote. In addition, if you are able to get a Gambian passport, then you are also you can also be able to register and vote. And finally, if you can get an attestation from a village alcalo or a district CFO, certifying that you are born in that village or in that district, that can also allow you to register. So we discussed these things, but during our discussions also, we realized that many communities in the Gambia are facing serious challenges. And based on our data we collected, and based on interactions, water is, I would call it, the single most important critical issue, starting from Bara onwards and starting from Fonyi onwards. Because when we finished North Bank, we came back to the Combos. We did Combo South, Katong, Berending, Gunjur, Gunjur Kunkujang, Sambuya. We did most of these, Tujereng, Batakunku. We did Combo South and did a lot of villages in Combo South. Then after that, we went to Lower River region. We started in Jara East. We started with in Jara Sukuta, Pakaliba, Misiracham, Sotukung, Barokunda. We did a lot of villages in Jara East. Then we came to Jara Central. We did also a lot of villages in Jara Central. And then we also did Jara West, Soma, Pakalinding, Jinoy. We did a lot of villages also, Sikunda, and also most of these areas in Kabada as well, most of the villages in Kabada as well we did. Then we did also Kiang East, we did Kiang Central, and then Kiang West. So we covered also, we've also finished Lower River region. Next, first week in January before Ramadan, we'll do CRR North. We'll try to do as many villages in CRR North as possible. Then after that, we'll do CRR South. Then we'll do Basse URR. Then we'll come back to the Combos, West Coast, to do Fonyi, Combo East. We've already done Combo South. We also did Combo Central for notice. Dimbaya, Tasilame, Marakisa, Busura, Mariama, how do you call it? Mariama Sambu. Most of these villages we did, obviously. So we've done Combo South and Combo Central is done. Now what is remaining is Combo North and Combo Central, and we'll do Fonyi when we come back from Basse. So like I said, there are many issues. You go to villages where people don't have water. They have to travel kilometers to get water. So this is something we urge the Gambian government to really consider, to see what can be done to utilize our available resources, both our river resources and also our underground water resources, to make sure that we build the right systems and infrastructure to provide water for our people in rural communities. And it's so sad that after 56 years of independence, you go to a particular village with over 2,000 people living in that village. There is nothing in that village, nothing that can make them live a dignified life. No clinic or hospital. They have to go kilometers, 12, 13, 15 kilometers to access healthcare, sometimes in very dangerous terrain because they are mostly off the road and the roads are bad. At night, if a pregnant woman wants to give birth, they put her on a donkey cart to travel 12 kilometers to the next clinic, and sometimes they give birth on the road at night, in the middle of the night, with no access to healthcare services. You see a village where there is no water, single water source, because they used to do their wells, and then a philanthropic, whether political or social, will come and say, condemn your wells, I'll build you a borehole. But boreholes are machines. They are not very guaranteed. And they build them a borehole. For 1 year, the borehole is, the machine or the pump has a problem. It costs 50-something thousand to repair. They don't have the money to repair it. So they are without a borehole and without their wells. So they have to go kilometers away to fetch water for their village. There will be no school in that particular community. The roads will be so bad that you'll forget that it's inside the Gambia. So no basic infrastructure. There is nothing, you find nothing, absolutely nothing, that people need to live a dignified life. And that is so disheartening. And I think it's time for us to really consider rural Gambia and see how we can decentralize development to ensure that we consider people living in rural Gambia, that they are also Gambians. It's part of Gambia. Therefore, it's unfair if we in the Combos can have access to clean running water, access to healthcare, access to education for our children, access to roads. And people who are paying for this, the farmers and women gardeners, they are paying taxes. They are voting every year for 55, 56 years. They don't have access to the most basic as education for their kids, as basic as healthcare for themselves or for the women, as basic as roads, nothing, absolutely, as basic as water, nothing, zero, absolutely nothing. So what is the purpose of the state then? If a state that cannot provide basic services for over a majority of its population, it's a failed state. It's a failed state, and it's so traumatizing. So that is the tour. So we'll continue the tour in 2 weeks' time. We are going to CRR North. We'll update you in our next press conference. The next item on the agenda has to do with the IEC recently released schedule for voter registration. It is slated for May 29th, obviously, to July 11th. Now, we thank the IEC for coming with a new date. The last press conference, we had urged them to come up with a new schedule, which they did, obviously, despite what has been happening. But there's a new date now, so all of us should be ready. We urge every Gambian to make sure that they register to vote. The media, please, we urge you, we beg you, we implore on you to please do a massive campaign to sensitize Gambians, because Gambians listen to the media. It's either listen to the radio or the TV or online. But let us please ensure that we sensitize Gambians to the importance, the critical nature, and the importance of them registering to vote. Our only concern, which I think the IIC will deal with it, is the window. The 29th of May to the 11th of July is about 6 weeks. And this is going to be one of the biggest voter registration exercises ever this country has had. The political interest in this country is at its highest. We have a younger population who now are interested in politics and who want to register. So I think perhaps this is just a preliminary date. Maybe there might be a need for an extension, and I think the IEC will consider that. But overall, we think it's good that we now have a date to register. Elections is barely 8 months away, and I think it's important for this registration drive to go on. And also, let me just emphasize once again to Gambians that you don't need an ID card only to be able to register to vote. You can use your passport, you can use your birth certificate, but you can also use an attestation from the alcalde or the district chief. The final item, obviously, which is very important, is the Sanyang incident. I think by now we are all aware of what happened in Sanyang. An event happened last week where a suspected thief, an alleged thief, broke into a house, leading to the death of a young person in Sanyang. Now, which triggered a series of reactions leading to the burning of the Sanyang police station and the fish meal factory in Sanyang as well. Now, we as a party don't want to take the reductionist approach to analyzing such issues, saying that, okay, the burnings and the reaction of the young people has to do with the killing of their fellow youth. No, it goes beyond that. We have to dig deeper and understand the dynamics at play, the complexities at play, not only in Sanyang, but in the whole entire Combo areas and in fact the Gambia. Similar incidents happened before. We've seen in Gunjur, in Faraba, in Busumbala. So we've seen a kind of a trend which, if not arrested, could lead to serious problems. But why would young people rise up and burn a police station and a fish meal factory because of the murder or the death of a fellow youth, where the alleged thief was arrested? So we need to understand these dynamics. You see, we live in very difficult times. Many young people are frustrated. Unemployment, especially among young people, is very high. 41.5% of young people are unemployed. That is the unemployment rate. The cost of living has skyrocketed, and if we say cost of living, it's not only food, but rent. Rent has gone up by over 100%. And in fact, sometimes even especially in urban Gambia. You have to understand that rural-urban migration has increased in the past year. In the same way, international migration has decreased. So there's so much pressure in urban Gambia. There are no amenities in rural Gambia. So a lot of people come to urban Gambia to look for work. The agricultural sector, which provided employment for a lot of rural people, has gone down because of erratic rains and because of the late supply of agricultural inputs, or in fact the non-existent supply of agricultural inputs has led to the collapse, near collapse of the agricultural sector. But also the agricultural sector is a seasonal sector, only the rainy season. So many young people looking for jobs and for opportunity come to urban Gambia. But urban Gambia also has had its fair share of difficulties, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. The tourism sector is collapsed. Many young people relied on the tourism sector to earn a living. Many factors, the Administrator Thomas Cook, which brings in almost 70% of tourists into this country, and also the pandemic, where tourists are not coming anymore, has really led to the collapse of the tourism sector, which is also seasonal, by the way. So young people need jobs. They need to be employed. And without jobs, living in urban Gambia, congested, social pressures, rent has gone up, food cost has gone up, wages are either stagnant or declining. That is a recipe for a country that is heading on a slippery slope. And I think the government must come up with measures as soon as possible to ensure that we look at these things, that we engage young people effectively, to ensure we provide jobs for them, we provide training, skills training for them, we engage them. Young people must engage positively. See, we have a gold mine in this country, the young people. It's a gold mine. But we are underutilizing the potential of the young people. They call it demographic dividend. We are not utilizing it. Other countries are looking for what we have. They are looking for it. They are looking for, Japan is looking for what we have. Germany is looking for what we have. A young, industrious, passionate population, ready to work. That is what other countries, we have it, and yet we are not utilizing it. We are letting them waste in Sanyang, in Brikama, in Gunjur, doing nothing. So therefore, we have to go beneath the surface and understand some of these complexities, these problems. Why are young people angry? Why are they frustrated? We're not giving excuses for the arson attacks at the police station and the fish meal factory. It's unacceptable, it's unjustifiable. We cannot allow lawlessness in this country where young people will just feel frustrated and start burning stuff. Nobody will feel safe at the end of the day. But again, we have to look at the root causes as well. How do we ensure that young people are engaged positively? How do we ensure they become good citizens? How can they really contribute to the productive base of this country? This is something that we, the Citizens Alliance, want to look at. That is why our manifesto, which is very clearly spelled how we are going to engage the youth by providing opportunity in terms of skills training, by making sure that we build, we create decent jobs for young people, by building a strong, vibrant economy, by harnessing our local resources. For example, the marine sector, which today is controlled by non-Gambians, and the agro industry, the potentials are underutilized, and so on and so forth. So I think we really need to start thinking as a country. How do we really engage young people of this country? Otherwise, it could really cause problems for us. So those are the issues, I think. The Sanyang incident, like I said, we had been following the stories. We visited Sanyang. We visited the family of the person, Mustafa Sise, who was killed. We visited the family. We spoke to the youths. We understood the problems there. We also spoke with the police. We are following the case. 50 arrests were made, I think. They had set up a panel to investigate the youths. We were only concerned with the manner in which the police were doing their job, and we urged them to take note. You cannot be arresting people at night, young people at night, and then just like that, whisking them to unknown destinations. And then without talking to the public, informing us. I think the police needs to learn to be proactive in terms of communication and to be transparent. Every arrest must be accounted for. The public must know all the operations of the police. The police must come after every arrest to inform the public that yesterday we did an operation, we arrested this number of youths, this is their conditions, and this is where they are. So the public knows, so there is transparency. But also, when they were interrogating these young people, we also got information, and we were also concerned. Sorry, by the way, I just got information that the guy who was the young person who was killed is Jibril Sise and not Mustafa Sise. My apologies for that. Now, to also ensure, because we got information that during the interrogations of these boys, they were not done in front of independent witnesses. They were also not done in front of their lawyers. And every suspect has a right. And I think the police must ensure that the rights of these boys, of these suspects, are guaranteed, that they have access to a lawyer, they have access to independence, so that when they are being interrogated, they cannot incriminate themselves, which is obviously a simple basic rule of law. So we are concerned with that. So I think the police needs to do a good, we are really thanking the police for doing a good job, but I think they need to do more in terms of their communications, in terms of being transparent, telling Gambians the operations they made, how many people were arrested, where are their locations, and to make sure they speed up the process of investigations that the panel was set up to do. So that is it for Sanyang. I think quickly I'll go to the local languages, if I may. Mbadingol assalamu alaikum mbal kontona mbal tentula mbal jela na kibar janjan na bil fanam bijambi na nyim press conference oto mbal ni mbara la mba fala kal bismillah na Citizens Alliance office oto jambi kanifing kana kul mi alon ko wolbe kering banko kan kana nali akacha ba to kibar janjan na leti nin kibaro ben to bul mi alon ko lafta gambe dingol ya kalamuta al tolle satan la al sa janjan no gambe dingol ya press conference min folobe na kulton lafta kamin katabi wolon na toti gambeno li akala mo ko Citizens Alliance ni lungol kono me banku yayo la mone banku yayo monati namba ke kan bawo IEC din krami alon ko wolbe mararing pour kaje ko ye mol safele pour ka carte fayno wolle findita ko sambi safero binasira pour gambe dingol si carte fayno odon ko ntol patio lafta kata kayai kata gambe dingol kan nga fute kan nisi kata ka tandila ka foy ko nyanta momo gambe dingoti ya COC inyante carte nyini isaje si carte fano bawo carte la be di carte lo ila semboti so ko anim fana isutan munni munala pour kaje ko carte fano bawo mo jamali amere ko ID card ni mo soto ite carte soto no la kata ka gambe dingol nisi kata ka foy ko iman sula ID card drone ha isutan ID card barate drone ten ko ne passport fana soto isi registrano isitano yesafe ni safero sita ese safi ne financial carte soto ya mabo ni bar certificate wala wulu kayto ni yo fanan soto ni wato sita isita yo fanan tano isi safi no ni mawol be soto ni atara alkalo wala sefo ite da men sate minto wala be districto minto wo sa safi no ko ite kari ite wuluta nyin ka sate karle andung ayelonne ela wulula lonne wo kayto drone financier dimano pour isita no isi voters card soto so mbew banku yayo la kata gambe ngol ke kunindi ke nisi kata pour e kolong kala nafa fana long nga commencé North Bank le nga commencé bara lo wanyomi nga North Bank nga opa nyomi ke nga jokadu ke nga Kiang Central nga opa badibu ni lo badibu ke nga Central badibu ke nga farafanya nyol ning sabah sanjal nyol ke nga Ulbang muruntanan combo nga combo Central ke nga combo South ke ndata nga Lower River region ke ka commencé Jara East kana fo Jara West nga Kiang East kana fo Kiang West nga wol banne san nyilungol mil kana ambita siarar notle nga wol ke nga siarar south ke nga tabase ni nga wol ba nga murunan ko ten combo nga combo east ke anin combo north anin fonyi nga KMC fananke anin Banjul e saje ko ning gambe jama kachata kaje ko ning safero min kana si pour kaje gambe di wo gambia ding ela banku di ya katan di janne ala kala mota ko carte faylu ngolo ngo mialon ko mbele kakang mo be carte kilene bebulu a president o a tabir lawo a fitar lawo a koditio a fankamawo anen tol mialon ko fenten tol bulu muso ke ba abe mbe carte kilimo ko wala fay handi million de lebe la bank account ko no yu nyemal dalo so fon tabulu carte killing bawo carte la sababoti bawo ndara satel mialon ko kulje mialon ko ay ne ko ya bake ka foko gambe sanji talul ni woro ka be ngam fanso fo sañ hani ka bi satil bi jele North Bank ani Lower River region ni gambe tunnol du lalto tarinke mialon ko ni fotoro satel to mo wuli wulol lebe sabatere jebari hani fengo fenne mansa kunda man fengo fenne sambaje jitije karambung tije lopitan tije sila kende tije kurango tije fengo fenne tije sanji talul ni woro wala wo molbe carte fay kan sanji talul ni woro wala ibe namo jo kan mansa e fengo fen foy ibake kanne fengo fe manse nyinin kay bake kan bar masam kunda man hani fengo fenne sambaje abogol manke banku dingoldi o kala ko de mialon ko ay nekuya ma fala masa kunda ko saka jiko o jiko jube bake jemu premo leti Gambia sa dolbe hani jikilintije kolon ila kolongol ti nyatale nin kolon fombo yo kolon jio fam manke joti mialon ko fanga da fengo sa min surtout hadama dingo won nekuya ma fala masa kunda ay jube asi fere o fere ke kaje ko sate kono banko sate o sate be Gambia ma foy fang ila silol kande bari korda nyanta ay jise no soto isaji hadama dingol si minno way nuclear woto wolong siloti to ngaminke ntara sate mil falanto ye milem bunya en bennunku mi tentulambe jayla kana nyin kate fayo ko wala fanan mbe danna wala to IEC e kibaro ki nyilungol kono ko safero bina commencé la nyin me karo tili mo anin kononto kata fo jola karo tili tang anin killing safero bina kala ka fo ko banko di ni akaytol soto kan nyin kayt nano non commandé fo ID card lombang fo passport lombang fo wulu kayto lombang fo attestation long alkalo min safe ba ni soto ta na sita yela ID card yela voters card nyini yela carte ya mabo bawo carte lon sabawte mi alon ko wolle kanying finan sañ nga ñim fota menten mbag mo fana dandalala mo me alon ke manke banku dingoti e manke Gambia noti mbe dandalala na carte na wasafero sita kana sutia ka carte safi dame mbe ñim fula ñanna kote mba fala kote mba repeat la ni manke Gambia dingoti kana son politician ol ye use iko ko ta carte ñini bawo ni wo keta jang mote asola no ila security la ha mangso wala ngo bay bantale anu mba fola embassy ko mi yalan ko lebe Gambia ya fola banko dingole ko ni manke Gambia dingoti kana sutia ika voters card ta dame bawo itama eligible ka voters card Gambia dingol don nyanta kata otombe mba fola mom yalan ko manke Gambia dingolti ibe so Gambia banko kan ibe la do ko la ni be sabatiri jang kairo kono wo kairo continue e kana dun tolla politique kono kata ko ka carte la nyini wo mbe mobe dandala la wala mom yalon ko banko dingolti fanan nyanta mbe nga nyaale mbe nga vigilante ni momo je mi yalon ko manke Gambia dingoti yaja kata carte nyini isa bole police olia isa de luabe min kala luaye woke woto mbe nyanta kan nyaale kaje ko na démocratie na election no banko dingol mi yalon ko manke banko dingoti kanida dun je fo isina kan na molla do ko tinyanye woto wolon tonyinti ani IEC na sabanjango mi alon ko lafta ko wala fanan discussion min keta sanyang di lungol ko sanyande folo mbe duwala talaye alma alayaso nemola alma kafar kelaye akata ni kuyati ko fondinke mi alon ko aba wululal nafakan abe sanyang nafakan abe kombo nafakan abe Gambia nafakan wo sio nata doyata nyamen kolon ko iko sungole nata sanyang suta killing tubabu la suwo kono ya fonding ngata pour ka je ko sungoni ya muta ba sunge mo robonda so mo rola fa afata o kran ne kuyate ndol Citizens Alliance mfrara sanga sotale ndata sanga kontongala jele ndata fana ni sanya fonding kebe kata pour ka la monom problème oti anim param problème ni fana ba sol fla nyaadi le anim fana ndata le fana nim police fana kata kaje ko 1000 fana muta ila nyanto ya dilale kaje ko be arrest kan nyamen e ke mabo nyamen e be nyinin kala abeta ani silo le tata ngawo be kele ngaje ko nyilungol kono police ko mom wonni fole wala charge sama kiti bundato kaje ko itolle fengol tinya ba ngaje ko police sono mala janita jele fana yaje ko fish mill factory min fanam jo fana janita le bare ntol CA ntol ka fole ko nkana jube min kata drong sanyam anin fonnin kella wulo kadula mala ko lebe keri miano ko Gambia bi nyante nga hakilo to baake Gambia ko lata baake fonnin kel man do ko soto e man do ko soto ibe sirin so kono balo da kolyata kabo mano fotulo fo jabo abele da kolyata ren fango korda fenko fango da kolyata le ika fa nyaade le fango luwaso fango da kolyata bi wodo ando fonninkel man do ko so mil fambe do ko la jo fana man beta jo man taka sele wodo fonninkel balo la nyaade le wodo man sakuna nyanda ngam koma fele fonninkele kaje ko nge engage nga do ko nyini fonninkele nga din kiraji ne melo ko islam me chokaranoje isaje se do ko sotono isaje nying ko melo ko baka keta kenola ma fa ko ye minke silolonde mu excuse tane ba on tol nga bay bantale kaje ko police sono mala anen ka wande business sol mala o manyana ka ke o manke banko manyana ka ala baw ka banko tinyale bari fanan si fonninke fanana ko jube ku fonninke man do ko soto anu ngajele ko bi Gambia bi oban Gambia ka bos KMC ni Banjul ni Brikama Tema West Coast mol siata je bakele bawo rural Gambia fengo feneti je ko tenke so mo jama kana do ko la jane sino man tara tamakan ko tenke fonninke ma kana ko mbojane kana do ko ni sabu ko bi ko mboja mol siata le siya nyam yalon ko fengol mansi utility basic services mansi ko bungol wala na luwaso da seleta baluwo da kolyata jol mal lafa wala italata le wodon sajibe man sakunda si fero fere ka kaje ko nga funding kel anin gambe dingol ila nyanto ngake ngadila fay si kaje ko foninkel do ko soto esaje crime wodron crime manke ka fo ka police jama fena nim paramilitary sol ni economic nin kidibal wodron mo buka security fena min ka security fena wala human security hada madi ngola nyanto ya dila hada madi sidara no jang gambia kono bunya kono anim foroya kono wodron dron ne ka tanko fena bankon kan bara manke ko ka fo ko nyin kala joran jamal economic binale be yala sade nin kala jorangol wobuka tanko fena.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ismaila Cisse, flag bearer, presidential candidate of the Citizens Alliance. Thank you, our viewers. Yet again, I think the information delivered here was very, very detailed and insightful. And our viewers and the media here, our partners, must have understood it clearly. Now we're going to move to question and answer. We'll have the media houses introduce themselves and then ask their questions. Then we'll have the party leader answer it to the best of his ability.
I'll start with the talk. Your team have told maybe one would be tempted to ask because whenever we discuss about politics, politics in this country, we emphasize on the issues of polarization in the country. I just want to know, during your discussion, what type of Gambia do we have now, especially in the provinces, in terms of their understanding of being citizens, their rights, and their understanding of politics in general. This is to connect it to the next election. Do we see a Gambian that is ready to make the right choices in this during this talk? So the second question is, a lot of issues have been raised with regards to electoral system, and to be specific, the issue of attestation. This has been an issue that many Gambians have been raising as probably an easiest way to use to list non-Gambians, because it's just a matter of alcala or stamp writing that you might have. Is the CA not concerned about this? Is it not your belief that this should be removed in the system so that we put in this to people who have the national documents, ID cards, birth certificates, and passports? These are the main national documents. Because, like I said, even during the political meeting in Canada, people like Bibi have raised these issues. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ba. Do you want me to take this in English, isn't it? Okay. I think those are very valid questions, questions that are really worth pondering over. I'll start with the last question, that is the attestation issue. You see, we have a dilemma here. The dilemma is that the system itself will disenfranchise a lot of people if we are not careful. Now, let's put the issue of attestation aside. Let's say we exit that attestation is no more a requirement for voter registrations. We're left with 3. Passport. How many Gambians can afford passports if you're not traveling? If you really don't have an intention to travel, and it's expensive. It means that if you look at the number of Gambians with passports, it's very negligible. And these are those who have an intention to travel, and it's also expensive. So it means that for that one, you'll really create a scenario whereby you'll disenfranchise a lot of people. Let's look at the issue of ID cards. It's a nightmare to get an ID card. As we speak, I don't have the statistics, but if we have the data which can tell us empirically the number of Gambians with ID card today is very negligible. Why? Because many Gambians think it's expensive when they can't afford it. It costs $600 to get an ID card. If you lose it, it costs $1,000 to replace it. And all this bureaucracy and the queues and the problem before you get this, so many people don't really, one, they cannot afford it. 2, they think they better go and earn a living than go spend a whole day at an immigration center to get an ID card. So if you want to focus on the passport and the ID card alone, you are disenfranchising a lot of people from voting, because one, they will not be able to afford. They'll tell you, well, if you want me to vote, and we face this in the provinces, if you want me to vote, help me with an ID card, because I cannot afford an ID card. So if people cannot afford an ID card, to get an ID card to vote, then how will they vote? Now the birth certificate thing, I mean, I don't even know if I have a birth certificate. How many Gambians have access to their birth certificates now? Because it's either it is lost, or you cannot find it anymore. The only option is for you to go to the alkali to give you another birth certificate. But again, it still boils down to the same thing. And you have to understand also that we'll have 40% extra new voters in this voter registration. But this 40%, are they ready now? Because the window is only 6 weeks. Now, most people, and we Gambia have to leave it until late. They wait until it has started, they start looking for ID cards. So what will happen is that we inundate all these ID card centers, they cannot get the ID card. And then what will happen is that at the end of the day, we'll realize that, well, a lot of young people are not able to register, especially the young people are not able to register to vote. Now, with the issue with the attestation, like, that is a dilemma. Yes, you are right. It's a loophole there. It's a weakness there whereby it can give the alcalos, especially rogue alcalos, in connivance with some rogue political operatives to register non-Gambian voters. We agree that can happen. But also, it is also the only chance where Gambians who cannot move from Sarepata to come to the main center to get an ID card, to go to the alkali, it's easier for them to get this attestation in a genuine manner. So how do we really balance this? We need to make some analysis. How do we balance it? So it's a dilemma. But like I said, what we can do is to ensure that we all are vigilant. Every citizen is vigilant. We all know each other. Especially these communities, we know who is Gambian and who is not Gambian. And every citizen, and especially the journalists, will also be vigilant. If we suspect any non-Gambian who is attempting to register to vote, and that person is called, we set the best example, it will really stop others from refraining to do the same thing. So like I said, it's a dilemma. How we go about it is going to be problematic. But my fear is that if we are not careful, we will disenfranchise a lot of people in this country, especially these coming elections. We have a lot of women who survive in their gardens. They wake up at 4 a.m., they go to the gardens. They'll be there until 6 p.m. every day, Monday to Sunday. Why? Because one, the gardens don't have enough water, constant supply of water. So they have to go and wait until water comes and they water their gardens. Secondly, the gardens are not properly fenced. So animals tend to enter and spoil their vegetables. So they are the security. They'll be sitting there the whole day from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. to make sure animals don't enter and spoil. So how do you tell that woman, leave your crop and your livelihood to go and register to vote? Where you'll have to go and stay in long queue. Their livelihood is more important to them. The young people, how do you really encourage young people? How do we sensitize them that it's important, go and register to vote? So we'll come to real, at the end of the day, the exercise will come and tell us that, well, we really have less people who have registered to vote because the system forced them out. Because they prioritize their livelihoods than to go and register. They don't have an ID card. They don't have a passport. They don't have a birth certificate. And ID cards are expensive. $600 is. How many Gambians can afford it to go and get an ID card? So it's a problem that we really have to think about as a nation. To how do we go about it? How do we solve? How do we ensure? How do we make it easy that every Gambian who is eligible to vote registers to vote? Every Gambian must be able to vote. That is democracy. That will consolidate our democracy. But otherwise, the way things are, I have this worry sometimes. I have this fear that the system will really disenfranchise a lot of people, especially young people and women, and who are the majority in this country. Now, the type of Gambian, it's been very, may I use this word, schizophrenic. That is, you go to some areas, you are very hopeful. Wow, okay. They'll tell you, well, Ntol San, we used to think like Ntol Mkafe Mansa Drone. But San, no. San Bokoke. San Mo Nara Yekumo Fanyal Ngole Mo Yajikos and Jikos and Bafela Wole. Okay, so that's a change there. But you go to some places and they'll tell you, no, Ntoli Mansakunda. And even Mansakunda Manfong Kodulato. So, but then overall, I think the Gambian is now more aware. Overall, that is my assessment, is more aware. They understand the issues. But I also think, just to throw in this there, the caliber of politicians we have, to a large extent, determines the type of electorate we are having. Because if we have 6, 7 politicians who go to the electorate and talk about issues, electorate will now consider issues as what politics is about. But if the majority of politicians go to electorate to talk about sentiment, the electorates will think that politics is about sentiment. So the leaders will have to define how the electorate will think and how they will vote in this election. But I'm hopeful. What I've seen, based on what I've seen as a political scientist, not wearing my politician hat in this here, as an objective observer of the behavior of the electorate, I have the feeling that most of the majority of the voters now will not vote based on sentiment. That now issues are important to them because we have the civil society now, the media now is more expansive, people have access to social media, people can sit in the most remotest village and listen to radio or listen to audios on WhatsApp, and so they have access to, and information is key. When people have information, it gives them the chance to make informed choices, and they are having access to those information. We have a youthful population who are coming up, well connected. Over 60% of those who will vote in elections will be young people. And they are connected. They don't vote based on sentiment. They vote based on issues. So I think for me, I'm hopeful for the trajectory of Gambia's democracy. I'm not saying that things will be perfect in 2021, but as we go towards 2026, we'll see some success in that field. Thank you. The question that he asked was that whether without a new constitution, it would badly make it difficult. I said no. With or without a new constitution, the diaspora must vote. If you don't let the diaspora vote, you are disenfranchising a huge chunk of Gambians, which will really not be good for our democracy. Now, we've been saying this almost 2-3 years ago at the first GAMCORD conference. Now, what do we need to do to ensure the diaspora votes? At that time, 2-3 years ago, what are the strategies? What is the roadmap? First, we have to identify, do a census. Where do most Gambians live in the diaspora? That would really be worth for us to take ballot boxes there. 2, how much would it cost to ensure that they vote? And 3, what is the roadmap? Nothing. But why wouldn't diaspora vote? I mean, if the diaspora, recently you've seen all that, they said diaspora has remittances, has overtaken every other sector in terms of contribution, our revenue, GDP. So, I mean, a constituent of that nature, having access to knowledge and wealth that the Gambia can benefit from, you want to disenfranchise them from voting, while other countries, even Guinea, their diasporans vote. Senegal, their diasporans vote. Why can't Gambia do the same thing? Guinea is far much bigger than Gambia, their population-wise. Senegal is far much bigger population-wise. I was reading a report a couple of days ago. I think we have almost 150,000 Gambians living in the diaspora. If I get the figure right, by a childhood friend, Kebe, who lives in the US. 150,000 Gambians living there. That is nothing. If you remove those who are eligible to vote, why can't we make it happen? Why? Because, I mean, we have to be serious about these things. Now, IEC came up with a first schedule. That's what I was included to register. I'm not seeing it in the schedule. So what is it? What is happening? And they should come out and tell us, is the diaspora going to vote or not? We should not be left in limbo at this stage, 8 months to election. Now it should be clear. Are you voting or you are not voting? So people know what to do. People know exactly what to do. It's in the interest of every political party, interest of the diaspora and people, to know whether diaspora will vote or not. So we are dealt, but you cannot be in limbo like that. The question of whether diaspora will vote should have been answered a long time ago and not today, when we have only 8 months to elections.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ismaila Cisse. Thank you to you, our partners. Thank you to our viewers. We're very, very happy yet again that you have graced this occasion for us to dialogue, for us to engage, so that the citizens, Gambians, can be informed. A lot has been said here, but just to sum it up, it reminds me that what we need, I said it earlier on, is leadership, direction, and solutions. And with this engagement, I believe you'll all agree that the Citizens Alliance, under the leadership of the dynamic Dr. Ismaila Cisse, can provide leadership for this country, has the direction to lead this country, and will provide solutions to all our issues, our problems, to fix our problems in this country. And Doctor has said earlier on, the caliber of politicians that we vote for, that we follow, determines the caliber of individuals we are. Let's ask ourselves, who do we want to be? What caliber of peoples do we want to be? And let's put those caliber of politicians in power so that they will serve the people. They will serve us, they will serve Gambians instead of serve themselves. On that note, I just want to say with everything, engagements we've told you, the updates, what we are doing, I believe, the Citizens Alliance believe that we have set the pace. Because again, if you look at the dynamics of politics in this Gambia, we are moving from individual-based politics to issue-based politics, thanks to the emergence of the Citizens Alliance. Thank you to you guys. Until we come your way again during our 5th press conference.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yai Baram.
I get it. Albaka.
Albaka, important.
Yo, nga transfer la story.
Ya transfer la story.
Ha, code nyenje.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara Allah service o tariaka.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam. Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Golam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma ni domorol ni fana beteata. Gambia dawda yalo nga fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat
apelenta
baraka ba ya lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Yara nyilla domoro ka diate.
Boy, jannon Sikes restaurant.
Sa na ko be ni na dimbal. Nimba domoro kala janno.
Domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kende ma bige. Luntan during kamala abeka domoro ki janni adi manda wala de teka we bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa e ka fa minna ko pastry anim bakery iko fanan be kalele badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo fendil lon dunia kono domoro betama nyillom international to wada number 1
amanke ba domola jang damman
esa domo jang is atariya
wo mu kubandi
sa na ko sa futandin
oto sa na ko be mu CK's restaurant
ndafa na janna mu yat ni manje dorom bijam
aban
CK's restaurant known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.